Hey everyone, the A7S3 is now a true cinema camera. This update brings 4 features that as video shooters will absolutely love, including one feature that I'm super pumped about. I've had my A7S3 since it first came out and it can still compete with new whippersnappers like the ZVE1 even today, but now with this new firmware update, Sony has given this camera a new lease of life. Updating the firmware on the camera is pretty straightforward. I just wanted to point out a couple of things you might come across, and I'll put a link to the Sony instructions in the description. The first thing is once you upgrade to version 3 you won't be able to import your settings, so you want to write down any important customizations that you've got in the camera so you can reset it up. And the second thing is if you're updating the firmware from a version that currently exists of 2.11 or earlier, you're going to have to do an interim update to 2.15, and then once 2.15 is installed then you can do the update to version 3, which is going to give us all these great features. So the first feature that's finally available to us is breathing compensation. Some lenses, when you change focus, have this breathing effect where the screen seems to pulse in and out and the field of view changes a little bit. This is called focus breathing. To turn on breathing compensation, head into the menu and then come to the shooting menu, come into image quality rec, go down to lens compensation, go down to breathing compensation and then turn it on. So this is what it looks like with breathing compensation turned on, and you might have noticed that it's cropped in a little bit on me to enable that breathing compensation. And if I hold my hand up to the camera and pull it away, keep changing focus, we don't have that breathing pulsing effect. So just bear that in mind. If you need to maximize the angle of view of your lens, you might want to turn it off, but if you've got the space to work with it, it's probably a good idea to keep it turned on just so things look nice. The second of the 4 features is that we now get a new recording resolution, 4K DCI 4096 by 2160. You can use this new resolution now if you need to deliver to clients at 4K DCI, but even if you're outputting in 4K UHD, you can still film in 4K DCI if you want to, and it just gives you a bit of extra width, so when you're editing you can kind of reframe things left and right a little bit if you need to. To get access to this new resolution, once you've done the firmware update, you need to head over to Sony and download a license to enable this in your camera, and you basically put in your serial number, download it to an SD card, put that SD card into your camera, boot up the camera, and it'll ask you if you want to install the license, and then you can go into the settings and check that the license is installed, and then you've got access to 4K DCI and you can select it from the menus. Just be aware it's going to reboot the camera and it's going to give you this warning. Once the camera reboots, you're now recording in 4K DCI. The other thing you get with 4K DCI is that you can now record in true 24 frames a second as opposed to 23.976. The third feature, and it's the one that I'm super pumped about, is that we now get to use the monitor and control app in conjunction with the Sony a7S III, and the reason why that's a big deal is that we get access to all the features of the app, but one in particular, and that's false color. So you're going to fire up the monitor and control app and then you're going to select a connection method. So we're using the Bluetooth pairing Wi-Fi method here to connect to the camera. There's loads of stuff you can do in this app and I'm going to do a full in-depth video on it in the future, so subscribe if that's something you're interested in. We've got all the basic settings along the bottom here: white balance, aperture, ISO and shutter. And if you tap this drop down at the top, we can now turn on false color, and we've also got some settings here. And this is what my exposure looks like right now. So being able to use false color for exposure now is a massive win, and it means you don't have to go and buy an expensive external monitor and connect it up via HDMI to your camera just to check your exposure using false color. And you can also use waveform. So here's my hand moving about. It's just another extra tool to check your exposure. The fourth thing that really turns the A7S III into a true cinema camera is that we can now use external timecode input with this camera. So if we've got a multicam setup, it's going to be really easy to synchronize them all using timecode. To use this feature, you are going to need to buy a dedicated adapter cable. There's loads of other things that I haven't covered, like the ability to actually set a shutter speed of 1/48 of a second when you're shooting in 24p, and the new quick menus that just make things so much easier to use. I believe video can change the world and anyone can learn to make better looking, sounding and edited videos. If that's something that you can get behind, please subscribe. Really appreciate it. Maybe check out this video next. I'm Jason Roberts and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.